What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. So as you can probably tell from the attire that I'm currently wearing slash riding, this video was originally meant to be just like a meme video, just like hella cursed, and randomly after riding this bike for 2 laps, it's actually really good. So I want to kind of do it the justice it deserves and ride it properly and kind of show you what it's all about. Now, the only way I can describe this bike to you is with its actual name in game, and that is just Jawa Vintage Bike. Nothing else than that. It's a 300cc machine, and I actually have no idea how it's in my game. I was just scrolling through looking for a little bit of, I guess you could say, inspiration on what to make a video on, and I saw this and I just had no idea I'd even downloaded something like this. It looks like one of them curse things that you usually see in the random like Wheelie Weirdos like picture channel on MXB on the X-Bikes Discord. And bearing in mind, like it has literally got road bike tyres on, yet the grip is actually strangely good. The only time that it will catch you off guard now and then is the front end might knife if you try putting a little bit too much weight or ask a little bit too much of it. But other than that, the power that the bike has is actually usable, which is quite rare for the road bikes. So they usually have really long gearing, and you can actually you can whip it as well. You can bring whips back, no problem at all. You do have to be careful. You want to try and land as central as possible. Again, otherwise, right there, that front end will cause you some trouble. And there's some jumps that you might not be able to get all the way up and over cleanly, but I would love to give that another run on the next lap. And so I've been trying to search for a track that I think will do this bike justice, and we've landed here on the old version of Baja created by Hurren. I think the newer version, especially with how rough it is in certain spots, might be a little bit difficult on it, but either way, this should be some good fun. If you've been putting off buying that new MX gear, or you're just looking for some new daily MX related clothing, then head on over to fxrracing.com. Code MXPR_Lins15 at checkout will give you 15% off all motocross and lifestyle products. This code is applicable to the European, Swedish and Norwegian websites, not Canada or the USA. And whilst I've got your attention, you may as well subscribe to the channel. It's just one click of a button and it puts a big old smile on my face. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. The only thing that's going to be a pain in the bum for me for this video is I'm going to be having to try and dig through whatever forum page, random Discord, mods post this bike was part of for me to download in the first place. And again, it's been so long at this point that I also can't even remember where I got the Monster Energy Girl model from that I'm running right now. I've done 1 or 2 videos before with her. The only issue is that it's just that you can't customize the gear at all. It is just a case of that she's her and that's it. So kind of gotta take it as you wish. I wish that I was a bit better in third person so I could just show off the actual look of the bike a little bit more. I have zero clue what this bike is meant to be based off of, if it's a replica of a real life bike, if it's something completely custom. I've never heard of Jawa before in my life. I don't know if that is a real brand that has been replicated in game. I don't know if that's someone's online username and they're the one that made this bike. It's all a little bit of an enigma, I have to say. And it looks like kind of, if you scroll through your mods list, for example, in game, you've got your different bike categories, whether it's MX1, MX2. This is all under, this as well as some other bikes, all come under the same category, and they all seem to kind of be bike life related. So I'm hoping that this isn't like some majorly ripped item from some other game, but looking at it and with how unfinished the textures and stuff on the model seem to be, I feel like this is a homemade project rather than something that's just been ripped from elsewhere. But other than that, we're looking kind of fresh, you know. We're not wearing the most protective of clothing, I have to say, but we got our Christmas hat on. We're starting to get in the Christmas spirit a whole 4 months early, because why not? I'm rocking some of the LGBT Garnet boots, and by the way, my video a few days ago asking how on earth you pronounce Garnet or Gurns or Gurneys or Gayernies or Gainies. It looks like there was no what word am I going for? It's not consecutive. Conclusive. That's the word. There was no conclusive answer. Everybody was all saying different things. So I'm still at a loss. I'm just going to call them Garnets. If that offends you in any way, or if you get annoyed by that, I don't apologise. I am only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. I really enjoy that after still after 2,500 hours on this game, where you think that you would have done everything by now. You can still stumble across these weird and wonderful things and still find some joy in it. And, oh god, please survive. Usually I kind of shy away from these sorts of things, and mostly because I guess it was just a misconception that any bikes with supermoto tyres in this game, I thought that they would just not be good at all and like handle really, really poorly. So I usually stay away from all of the funky stuff. You guys know that I'll hop in Bike Life from time to time, just very, very casually, with Charlie for like 10 minutes here and there too. But on a day-to-day basis, it's not something that really interests me. So when it comes to bikes like these, for the most part, tend to leave them in GP bikes, because I feel like, you know, that's the game that's best suited for them. No point trying to like ruin things for myself in this game by trying to get them to work on dirt, because I've had it in the past where bikes with these sort of road tyres, you just can't put any power to the ground, you just slide the entire time. So it's actually quite good fun that it works now, and I get to use this bike. But I don't think this bike would be good enough to get me around like a Supercross track at all, unless I was planning on doubling my whole way around. I've made the gearing as short as possible. To be fair, you know when you go into drivetrain and you change your gearing and it gives you like the speeds depending on what gear you're in. Right now, the gears and speeds are actually very, very similar to like a normal 450, like a Yami 450. I think it's just the fact that it is a less powerful bike that means you really have to kind of keep all of your momentum up. And the issue with that is because of how kind of loose and wobbly the front end can be sometimes, you kind of have to end up backing off in the corners, which then ruins your momentum overall. But I'm surprised, but it does handle bumps fairly decently. Granted, I've not really put it through any stress tests or done any like really difficult stuff. The track that I actually found out that this was usable on was JV's MXGP of Germany at Teufelstal. The issue with that track, however, was I couldn't actually clear the finish line jump. Again, I've been trying to find a track that even on a slightly underpowered bike, you can kind of make it look fairly decent and have some fun. And by no means do I expect a bunch of people to go and download this bike and start riding it by themselves all the time. This is definitely one of the things that you should probably get a friend or two online with you and just to have a laugh for 5 minutes at a time, because I think that's the best way to enjoy these really weird things. I feel really, really bad because this video is quite a spur of the moment. You know, I've like found this bike, found out that it works quite well, and decided to record on it straight away. I've done no research at all into it. I don't know who released this originally. I don't know if there's some massive backstories, if it was taken from one game and put into this one instead. I'm hoping that it's not just like a blatantly ripped model. I'm hoping that there is still just a normal public download link to it at some point. I mean, if it is something that's just been ripped from another game that isn't on mods anymore and shouldn't be in the game, you won't see this video anyway. If you are seeing this video, then that means good news. I've managed to find a link for it and it's in the description down below for you. And I'll also do that with the track as well, although I feel like this Baja Acres, Baja Brawl, whichever one you want to refer the track to, this is probably one of the most well-known custom tracks in this game. I mean, actually, is that fair to say still these days? I mean, if I could say that same sentence about a year ago, and then it would probably be a true statement. But maybe these days not so much. Maybe this is one of them tracks that's kind of had its time. Obviously there's a new updated version of this track at this point, also made by Hurren, but then the newer one is a little bit more difficult, so it kind of depends what you're into as well. This track, I think it holds a special place in a lot of the pro riders' hearts, because we used to use this track for, well, what used to be aerial back in the day. It was called PDMX, Prospect Designs Motocross, and even before that, they had like a backyard motocross series. And this was one of the most used tracks. And on the 450s, you used to have to use about 9 litres of fuel for a 30-minute race around here, because it's such a wide open track. A lot of time you can just duct tape down your right trigger and then just lean, and you'll be absolutely fine. But you'd use so much fuel because you was always going at such a fast speed. And it was one of them tracks that if you did have like a semi-big crash, it was so annoying to try and then catch up with people again, especially if like lappers get in the way and things like that, because the lap times between everyone back then, couple attempts max. Like everyone was always running like really solid speeds to each other. Bit more different these days with like the difficulty of tracks increasing, like especially in qualifying times. You know, people tend to be multiple seconds apart rather than the few tenths that it was back in the day. Yeah, tracks like this will always hold a special place in my heart. I'm very, very glad that we've got to the point now where the tracks are just more difficult in general, because I feel like I'm like this with a few different things in this game, whether it's bike or track or whatever it may be, is if things are too easy, then it's enjoyable for me, but only for a short period of time. It's when I find like a challenge for myself that I then want to get better at and improve at, that I can really sink time into something. So yeah, easy things, they're fine for me for 5-10 minutes. After that, I get hella bored and I start trying to look for something different. I've just noticed, I say noticed, it's only just kind of dawned on me, I'm not the greatest editor in the world. I don't do much when it comes to editing, you know, I'll kind of like trim the fat of videos, so to say, to make it quite concise. There's no like dead bits in the middle at all, or any parts that I'm not really speaking during. But my bar pad, my dashboard right now, that is completely green, would be a brilliant green screen. I probably aren't going to do it. I'm probably not going to do anything in the editing of this. But if I somehow find a way of getting to like slap a logo or something on that green screen the entire time, I definitely will. I have no idea how to make it so that if I was to put my logo on there, it would stay like glued onto that spot the whole time, rather than just being in like a PNG image that stays in one place. So I might actually be setting myself up to fail. Ignore everything what I've just said there. I've just set myself up to fail. Ignore that. That's not happening at all. If for those of you that are smarter than I, if you have any idea how to do that, then please do let me know. I use DaVinci Resolve as my editing software, the free version, of course, because I am a massive cheapskate. But this is actually going to be quite a short video compared to what I'm used to. I didn't plan on making this. I just thought, you know, if there's anyone out there that wants to try a bike that's a little bit different, that they would probably didn't know existed before this, then why not? I'll show it off to you. It was meant to be like a meme video. I'd done a video before where it was like the most cursed setup in bikes, and it was like a Dakar rally enduro bike combined with the Monster Energy Girl rider model, and it was meant to kind of be along those lines as well. But you know, it actually ended up being pretty damn good and not as cursed as I thought it would be. So if you have enjoyed this, as short and sweet as it has been, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I would really appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever it is you're up to, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.